Cars then making their way towards the grid. This is how they line up for round 23 of the championship. Pole position to the race one winner and the now 9-time winner around this circuit, Colin Turkington, the four-time champion, looking for a fifth this season, up to fourth in the standings. Alongside him, another four-time champion and the current champion, Ash Sutton. So 20, Colin Turkington, and 1, Ash Sutton on row 1. On row 2, the championship leader, Jake Hill, number 24, and 66, Josh Cook. Row 3, Tom Ingram, second in the championship, number 80, and 33, Adam Morgan. Row 4, 12, Rob Huff, and 27, Dan Camish. Row 5, 40, Aaron Taylor-Smith, and 77, Sam Osborne. Row 6, 16, Aidan Moffat, and 45, Dan Zelos. Row 7, 222, Chris Smiley, and 32, Dan Rowbottom. Remember, had that puncture in race 1, but before that, he'd gone from the back, or rather 15th, up to 7th place. Then he went from the back up to 14th. So Robo will be on another mission, I reckon, from 14th on the grid. Row 8, we've got Mikey Doble, number 88, Tom Chilton, number 3. Row 9, 18, Darryl De Leon, and 29, Scott Sumpton. Then on row 10, on the wet tyre, the only one on the wet tyre, Nick Halstead, number 22, and 11, Andrew Watson, trying to recover from his big crash earlier on in race 1 down at the S's involving the tyre stack. It looks, over on the far side of the circuit, looks pretty much bone dry on that run up through McLean's and Coppice. So I'm not sure it's going to be a short-lived moment of glory, if it's going to be a moment of glory at all for Nick Halstead. He probably now wishes he was on the slick tyre because there's no sign of any more showers coming. So the last few cars making their way to the grid. And Nick Halstead is coming into the pits. He's already decided this isn't going to work. I'm going to just ruin my race, ruin the tyres, and I think he's going to come to switch to the slick tyre. So Halstead comes in, everybody else on the grid ready to go, racing for 14 laps around the 2.49 mile Donington Park circuit as the revs rise. Colin Turkington on pole position, Ash Sutton alongside. Here we go, into action, into battle once again. Colin Turkington with a great start in the BMW, the rear-wheel drive car, makes that run up through the gears look easy as he gets to turn 1 Redgate corner with Ash Sutton behind him. Ash, though, good on the brakes, has a little luck up the inside. And then you've got the next BMW of Jake Hill closing up in third place. There's contact further back. Josh Cook is involved, Dan Camish is involved, and Danny's sent onto the grass all the way on the inside of Hollywood. And, of course, the grass is still going to be wet and slippery, and he's on a slick tyre. So he's just about gathered it back on. He sideways comes back onto the track, but he's a long way down the order, and he's also, well, he's last place, but he's a long way back on them as Ash Sutton goes on the attack, coming out of Schwantz Curve and gets his nose in front before they get up to the braking zone at McLean's. He's into the lead of the race. Sutton ahead of Turkington. It might not be wet. We know he loves the rain, but it is greasy. It is slippery still at the beginning of the race, and Sutton just slid it through. Nice move then for him. He's looking only for his second win of the season, Ash Sutton. He needs to start scoring some wins to catch up to Jake Hill and also to Tom Ingram as well. So great move that from Sutton to get the lead from Turkington. Hill is third, and then on board with Tom Ingram, who's getting involved in that battle as well. He got ahead of Josh Cook. He gets very sideways going out through the S's. Josh got delayed in that incident earlier on. And Tom Ingram now fires one around the outside of Jake Hill. He won't get through there, but he might cut back on the way out of the corner. Gets on the gas. The front-wheel drive Hyundai gets better traction. Gets his nose in front. He's on the outside line for Goddard's. Is Jake Hill going to let him go? The top two in the championship together, but Ingram around the outside has got past Jake Hill for now. But they're still side by side. This could be the battle for the championship. Every point counts. Neither of them wants to give way, but Tom Ingram is going to be on the inside. They're still together as they hit the brakes, turn right into Redgate corner, but Ingram is through. So Tom Ingram through ahead of Jake Hill. That puts him up to third place. Sutton leads, Turkington second, Ingram third, Hill fourth, Cook fifth, and then Huff in sixth place. They make their way down through Hollywood and down in towards the Craner curves. We've got Nick Halstead being released from the pit lane now, but a lap down. A replay showing that Colin Turkington just got a bit of a twitch on as he went up on the throttle coming out of the old hairpin, touched the curbs, and just that moment where he just lost a bit of traction was enough for Ash Sutton to slide it up the inside, pounce, and get the lead of the race. Few corners into the first lap of the race. So Sutton leads here at Donington Park, and he's taking with him Colin Turkington, and then you've got Ingram in third, Hill in fourth, the top two in the championship. Basically, whichever one finishes ahead of the other is going to be the championship leader at the end of this race, unless they both finish low down the order. Then Ash Sutton might be the championship leader, but he's looking to close up. He's got 20 points in the bag if he wins the race, plus you get a point for leading a lap, and at the moment he's got the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race as well. You'd imagine, though, the lap times are going to get quicker and quicker. So down at the Melbourne hairpin they go. Colin Turkington is coming back at Sutton. He knows he needs to take points away from the three drivers around. We've got the top four in the championship, or the top four in the race here. Third in the championship, fourth in the championship, second in the championship, and first in the championship. Come out of Goddard's now. Josh Cook trying to come back at them in the Toyota, the pink wing mirrors, and then a big gap back to Rob Huff, who comes through next over the line in sixth place, with Adam Morgan looking pretty menacing in seventh. Eighth place is Dan Rowbottom, so Robo on the attack here, coming up the order from 14th on the grid. He's got 6 places already, and Robo up into 8th position. 9th is Moffat, that's who he's just overtaken. 10th is Taylor Smith, and then 11th Smiley, 12th Osborne, 13th Doble, 14th Chilton, and the last point scorer for now is Dan Zelos in 15th, but he has got Andrew Watson from the very back of the grid breathing down his neck in the second Toyota Gazoo Racing machine. So the race leaders up now at McLean's corner, and Tom Ingram has dropped Jake Hill and has caught up to Colin Turkington. So it's 3 for the lead of the race as they go into Coppice corner. Turn right through there. This is all about the exit, really. A bit of a twitch again from Colin Turkington, who, as I say, normally it's just smooth as anything behind the wheel of the car, but it is a little bit sketchy out there. But he's getting drier and drier and quicker. But you've also got the BMW of Adam Morgan behind Rob Huff trying to attack, and he's making his way into the S's now, very close to the tail of the 2012 World Touring Car Champion. Colin Turkington inches up towards the back of Ash Sutton under braking, but the Ford stays ahead into the Melbourne hairpin. Turkington has got now for company Tom Ingram in third place. Fourth place is Hill. Hill, I think, has been caught by Josh Cook in fifth position. There's an almighty tussle going on in the mid-pack here, and it is involving Sam Osborne, and it's also involving Aidan Moffat, who's got some damage or got a problem with the car because he's going very slowly up towards the hairpin. Adam Morgan, meanwhile, is all over the back of Rob Huff as they make their way down in towards the right-hander at Redgate corner. He can't get through, and crabbing his way into the pit lane is Aidan Moffat. So, had a diff problem, ironically, didn't he? He was saying with the car throughout the course of the weekend. He definitely got a problem with the car going in a straight line now because he's got massive suspension damage, and that's Aidan Moffat, I'm afraid, out of the race at a track which he loves and which he's got a really good record at, having been a winner here in 2017. His first independence win came here back in 2016. And this is the circuit where a young Ash Sutton made his touring car debut on the launch day, the media day, back in 2016. He didn't even have a seat which fitted him, and for 95% of the day he was the quickest driver out there until Matt Neal, just at the end of the session, went a bit quicker.
Couldn't even see the apex of the corner, could he?
No, he couldn't. No, just completely out. He's
peeking over.
Yeah, couldn't see over the steering wheel barely, and he managed in the MG to set the second fastest time of the day at a very damp and dark Donington Park on the launch day, the first test day of the season. So we got an idea then that he was going to be good, but we didn't know quite how good he was going to be. So Ash Sutton, Colin Turkington, Tom Ingram. That's just the 9 championship titles between the three of them, battling at the front of the field. You've got Josh Cook slowly but surely working his way up towards Jake Hill in the battle for 4th and 5th positions. All of the front runners have still got hybrid available, but Colin Turkington, remember, only got 1 lap available to him, the one that he had at the start of the race. So they make their way, the top 3, through Redgate corner. What about the progress for Andrew Watson? He's onto the tail of Dan Camish. He's also trying to recover from his bad start to the race. They go through in 16th and 17th. It's not been a good day so far for Dan Camish, has it? And he's there out of the points at the moment, as is Andrew Watson. For Dan Rowbottom in 8th place, he's just done a personal best lap, 1:34.399. That was 6/10 quicker than Adam Morgan. So Robo, 1.8 seconds down on the BMW, but at that rate of knots, about 2-3 laps time, he'll be catching up to Adam and trying to battle somebody else to get further up the order. So, and if he can get to Adam Morgan, he can get to Rob Huff, because they're together on the way into Coppice corner. Meanwhile, it's getting tighter and tighter at the front of the field between the top 3. Tom Ingram is right with now Colin Turkington, who is in turn underneath the rear spoiler of the race leader, who lifts the left rear Goodyear tyre clean off the tarmac, which shows us more grip. And look at the bullet that is the Hyundai of Tom Ingram. Gets a tremendous run coming out of the S's and splits the top two. Wow, what a move. Gets into second place, and the 2022 champion now gets himself right underneath the rear wing of Ash Sutton, but he just flew out of the S's and got straight up into second place, and there was nothing Colin Turkington could do about that. So it is now Sutton that leads, Ingram up to second, Turkington in third. I don't think Tom Ingram wants one of his pointsy weekends this weekend. He wants a win, and it's been a little while for him. He's got a great record here with 7 wins at this circuit. He knows how to win around here, and this is his chance, given that we've got this reverse grid race coming up for race 3, and he knows that he's in and around his big rivals for the championship. Get a replay on board on the ITV pictures of Ash Sutton looking back at all that with the rear-facing camera, and then getting a little nudge on the way into the hairpin, because I don't think Tom could slow the car down. He was carrying so much speed, whizzing out of the S's.
That was a hi, it's me again.
Yeah, hello, it's Tom here. Tom calling. Yeah, wow, that was. I mean, he did want to stop the car because he looked like he got another 10 miles an hour, didn't he, coming out of the S's? He just threw it through there. So your race leader is Ash Sutton. He has got 2 laps of hybrid available, but the man in second place, Tom Ingram, has got 4 laps of hybrid available to him. Colin Turkington still got that 1, and Jake Hill 2, Josh Cook with 2 laps of hybrid available to him as well, and 6 laps each for Huff and Morgan, who are both on the hybrid on this lap, and in that extra delivery of 60 brake horsepower. Right, Tom Ingram again, good on the brakes, closes up to Ash Sutton, but stays where he is. And Josh Cook, who's one of the last of the late breakers, he's coming after the BMW, the Laser Tools MB Motorsport BMW of Jake Hill as well. And then we've got Rob Huff still fending off Adam Morgan. Adam Morgan checks the mirrors and thinks, I need to get on with this, because there's that blue and yellow number 32 Ford of Dan Rowbottom catching us both rapidly, and if I can't get past Rob Huff, I'm going to have to be defending from Dan Rowbottom in the next couple of laps. So that battle goes over the line. The top 3 make their way through Redgate Corner with no change. Sutton from Ingram from Turkington, Hill 4th, Cook 5th, and Huff in 6th place. Dan Zelos coming under fire from Dan Camish now. Dan trying to cut back up the order. Camish into Redgate Corner, has got the inside line, but he's going to come under attack himself on the way through into the right-hander. And that's 3 abreast, and it's Tom Chilton who gets past a pair of them with a great bit of outbraking. He's pulled off some terrific outbraking manoeuvres this season, Tom Chilton. That was another one of them to get past both of the Dans. So forward 1, backwards 1 for Dan Camish, as we get Ash Sutton coming under more and more pressure from Tom Ingram up at Coppice Corner. Colin Turkington has stayed with them in 3rd place. They make their way out of the right-hander now. They are around about 1.5 seconds clear of Jake Hill in 4th. Josh Cook's 0.9 seconds behind Hill in 5th place. And on the most recent lap, Cook was about 1/10.5 quicker. So it's slowly but surely, but Josh Cook is getting there. Being delayed slightly on that first lap of the race. Under braking, the top 3 then nose to tail make their way into the turn. You just got the sense that this year's championship is going to be a handful of points that is the difference between being a champion and not. And the drivers know that there's still lots of races to go. But if you get an opportunity, you don't want to get to the end of the season and think, I missed the championship by a couple of points. What if I just tried to overtake my rival at that Donington Park meeting? However, with every overtake comes a gamble, comes a risk, and you've got to weigh up the options. You don't want to come out of this race with a no points finish and being at the back of the grid for race 3. That could completely ruin your championship. So they've got to do this sensibly. Ash Sutton is not going to be easy to overtake, that's for sure. Tom Ingram and here have had some good battles this year. Remember that move at Brands Hatch in the Indy circuit earlier this season where Tom Ingram just threw it at the inside on the grass into Paddock Hill Bend. It was one heck of a move. Ash Sutton wasn't that impressed with it afterwards because he had to take it to the grass to do it, but it showed the bravery and the commitment that Ingram has got. So Ingram at the moment is going to be back in the championship lead because Jake Hill is in 4th place. He's outscoring him at the moment. He's going to get, if he finishes in 2nd place, 17 points. He's not got the fastest lap. That still belongs to Colin Turkington. And it'll be 13 points for Jake Hill, who at the moment is in 4th position. But I reckon Ingram really wants the race win here, and he's desperate to try and find a way through. He's not going to get through on the way into the Fogarty S's. Ash Sutton's got that one sorted, but again, he takes tremendous speed coming out. He's on the hybrid as well, Tom Ingram. He's got more hybrid available to him than Ash Sutton. He gets alongside him now. They make a bit of contact on the way into the hairpin as well. Colin Turkington is there, menacing, waiting to pick up the pieces. And further back, Adam Morgan finally gets down the inside of Rob Huff. He goes too deep into the corner, though. The BMW runs wide, and Rob Huff gets him straight back on the exit to the corner. And there, Dan Rowbottom is with the pair of them. So 6th, 7th and 8th all together, and the top 3 over the start-finish line all together as well. And good news coming from the minis that Callum Eason has been released from the medical centre as well now after that big shunt at the old hairpin. So that's great news as we go through onto the next lap with 6 laps to go, including the one we've started now. The race absolutely flying by with Sutton, Ingram split by just 0.3 of a second as they cross the line. They're both edged away at the start of this lap from Colin Turkington in the first of the BMWs in 3rd. And then we've got to keep an eye on that battle, which already has kicked off once down at the Melbourne hairpin between Huff, Morgan and then Rowbottom. So the race leader into McLean's at the top of the hill. They drop down a little bit coming out of McLean's, down to a bit of a valley. Then you climb uphill over a blind crest on the way to what's a double apex right-hander, a very technically tricky corner at Coppice. And then you go down the back straight, which roller coasters up and down a little bit. And then you hit the brakes and go left and right, get as close to the tyre stacks as you can without touching them. Because if you touch them, we saw what happened in race 1. That can be perilous for the drivers, flung right up into the air. Keeping an eye on the gap between 4th and 5th as well. That's down to 0.6 of a second. So Josh Cook keeps on chipping away. Bit of a lock-up for Tom Ingram as he makes his way into the hairpin. It's got a bit darker over ahead as well in the skies, but no threat of rain just yet. Huff, meanwhile, keeps Morgan and Rowbottom at bay. Behind them, but running kind of on their own, are the 2 Vauxhalls of Taylor Smith and Doble. We've got a black and orange flag coming out for Daryl de Leon. So Daryl de Leon is being asked to leave the circuit. And that was damage to the car. Yeah, it's usually the fluid or damage to the car, but he's got some loose bodywork on the car. So the Cupra, I'm afraid he's going to have to head into the pits from 16th place. So he's outside of the points anyway. Andrew Watson is in the points now, but only just. He's into 15th place. Tom Chilton trying to draw alongside Chris Smiley for a move down at Redgate Corner, but he can't get through. So Smiley remains 12th. Chilton remains in 13th position. And the race leader is climbing up the hill now with Colin Turkington coming under fire, or putting the fire on Tom Ingram and getting past him on that run up through Schwantz Curve. So suddenly Ingram had dropped back coming out of the old hairpin section of the course, and Tom Ingram just couldn't do anything about that BMW. Once it got the drive up the hill, Colin was able to get back past him. Getting a replay on the big screens. Did he just run a bit wide or not? Not really. Coming out of the old hairpin, it was just that Colin Turkington's delivery of hybrid was enough at the right spot of the circuit to give him that extra 60 brake horsepower boost. And that was the biggest showing yet of that extra hybrid that we got this year, really being used as an overtaking move. It really did work, didn't it?
2 track limits warnings going out. 1 is for Tom Ingram, 1 is for Ash Sutton.
That's right, yeah, okay. So 2 of our championship contenders, 2 of our front runners. Jake Hill next to queue up onto Tom Ingram. Now, Tom Ingram has still got a couple of laps of hybrid available to himself. Turkington's used his hybrid now. He's 1 lap of hybrid, but didn't he use it well? Makes a huge difference to him. Gets him up into 2nd place, and suddenly he's a long way clear of Tom Ingram. He's demoted to 3rd, and he's got the BMW of Hill and Cook to deal with as well. Colin Turkington, 134.614 on that lap, and Ingram did a 136.5, so it's 2 seconds the lap time difference between them on that lap alone, with 1 using hybrid and 1 having a slightly scrappy lap as Daryl de Leon comes in to get the car fixed. And Jake Hill has now got his way past Tom Ingram. So Hill, the same spot really as Colin Turkington was able to do it, gets past Ingram as well.
Is Tom's car okay?
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a bit of an issue, because he had a slow lap. It wasn't just that Colin had a really good lap, he had a slow lap, and he looks like he's struggling up the hill, doesn't it? Coming out of the old hairpin. It's a carbon copy of what happened when Colin Turkington came past him. I thought it was just the hybrid on the previous lap, but there was no hybrid for Jake Hill there. So I think Tom has definitely got a car which is not 100% and he's struggling in particular coming out of the old hairpin. And he's slowed right down now coming out of the S's. Oh, this is critical for his championship chances. The hazard lights are on. Tom Ingram is slowing right down as, Dan Rowbottom tries to squeeze at the inside of Rob Huff and does it as they both get past Tom Ingram. So Dan Rowbottom with a good move there. Ingram trying to stay out of the way, but Ingram, who was about to pick up the championship lead in that race at one stage, is limping back to the pits with some sort of issue. So Sutton leads, Turkington second, Hill up to third, Cook fourth, Morgan's up to fifth, Rowbottom from 14th on the grid is up to sixth place. Huffy's down to seventh, he'd already lost out to Morgan, he's just lost out to Rowbottom. Taylor Smith is up to eighth and the leading independent ahead of Doble in ninth, and Osborne on course for his second top 10 finish of the day. But Alan, you've got Tom Ingram limping his way back into the pits, heading towards the Team Bristol Street Motors garage, and that is his race run. And it also, of course, means that he's going to be right at the back of the grid for race 3 this afternoon.
Engine temp for Tom Ingram. He's straight into the garage.
Engine temperature, right. Thanks very much, Alan, for the update. So
reports of blue fluid coming out, which is coolant.
Losing coolant. Okay, so he had to bring it home, otherwise he'd have cooked the engine. Wow, that was cruel, wasn't it? So what looked like being a really good day has suddenly turned into a really bad day for him, particularly with his championship rivals all up there running in the top 4 at the moment. And Tom Ingram walks straight through the garage, helmet on, which is a sign of utter frustration.
Yeah, I didn't try.
No, and you can understand why, can't you? So now we've got a battle for third place going on. He's also lost second in the championship if it stays like this, because Ash Sutton is going to outscore him by enough points to move ahead of Tom Ingram, because Sutton's on course for 21 points at the moment. He was only 15 behind, so he is going to move up into second in the championship. Jake Hill, who at the moment is in third place, is going to move by 9 points into the championship lead. It'll be 9 points clear of Ash Sutton. Tom Ingram will be down to third place in the standings, and worse to come, he's going to have to start at the back of the grid for race 3, while his rivals, even if there's a bad reverse grid draw for them, at worst they're going to be in the middle of the grid. So expect to see, if they get the car sorted, an absolute charge from Tom Ingram, but it is not what it should have been this race day for him, and that's a real low point for the 2022 champion. He had a really tough weekend at Knock Hill as well, but he managed to fight back in that race 3 and get that podium finish. But his work's going to be cut out to do the same here. But you can overtake at Donington, and Tom's certainly been doing lots of that today. But huge disappointment for him. We've got a lap and a half to go, including the one we're already on. And Ash Sutton, 1.2 seconds clear of Colin Turkington, looking for his second win of the season. He's looking good in the Ford. Hill in third place, Cook in fourth place. That is not yet resumed. There's only half a second between those two when they crossed the line last time. I think Hill's had a better lap this time, though. And he is edged back away from Cook. He's still got a lap of, I think he's on his last lap of hybrid, and Cook's got none left as well. So Hill should be good for a podium finish. And after his illness this weekend, 2 podiums from the first 2 races and the championship lead, he'll absolutely take that. So back to start the last lap of the race is Ash Sutton. Colin Turkington goes through in second place. Ash has still got a lap of hybrid left. Colin's used his one and only lap of hybrid available, so it should be a fairly straightforward run to the flag for the reigning champion. Then in third place Hill, fourth place Cook, fifth place Morgan, sixth is Rowbottom with a good drive through, and of course he's still got a chance of a reverse grid pole position as well. They're replaying contacts on the ITV pictures between Ingram and Turkington. Pretty heavy hit that he got before the problem emerged, so whether it's a suggestion that caused the problem, who knows. But showing that replay of Ingram getting that whack on the way into the hairpin earlier on in the race, and then ultimately retiring. So Turkington on course for more good points here. A good weekend at Knock Hill points wise, a win there. He's had a win at Croft the Ram before that, and he's got a win already here. He's got a second place to add to that. The engine is being readied, and they change the whole front end of the car on these touring cars. They can get the engine change done in around about 45 minutes or so, which is incredible, as the race leader, Ash Sutton, makes his way for the final time down towards the hairpin at the Melbourne Loop. He turns right. He's got 2 corners to go, and he's looking good for the race victory. He's just about to accelerate out of the turn, and he's just got 1 corner to go, and Ash Sutton is almost home and dry now, with Colin Turkington in second. Third, just about, is Jake Hill. The line is here, though. The flag is readied, and it's Ash Sutton that wins race 2 and round 23 of the championship here at Donington Park. Turkington second, Hill in third, moves into the championship lead, extends his championship lead, and then Cook in fourth. 5th place for Morgan. A really good drive for Dan Rowbottom to 6th place. Huff is 7th. Taylor Smith with another independence win. He's 16th of the season, ahead of his teammate Mikey Doble, who comes home in 9th place. 10th place, but a really good day today for Sam Osborne. Something that's clicked with Sam the last couple of meetings. He looked very racy at Knock Hill at times as well. So well done to Sam Osborne in 10th. 11th place, Dan Camish. 12th, Tom Chilton. 13th, Dan Zielos. 14th over the line was Andrew Watson. Chris Smiley was 15th. And then 16th just was Scott Sumpton. I say just, he was lapped down, wasn't he, Darryl De Leon, right behind him as they crossed the line. The fastest lap went to Colin Turkington, so he got the bonus point for that as well. So he'll get 17 points for second, a point for leading a lap, and a point for the fastest lap. So he'll get 19 points for finishing in second place in that race. And 21 points is going to come the way of the race winner, Ash Sutton, moving him, as I say, up to second in the championship. Gets 20 for the win, 1 point for leading a lap. Obviously, Tom Ingram doesn't finish, doesn't get any points. Jake Hill comes home in 3rd place and gets 15 points. Colin Turkington gets the 19 points, 17 plus the 2 bonus points. And then Dan Camish, who's 5th in the championship, comes home in 11th place, loses out to them. He gets 5 points. So I reckon it is 9 points the difference between the top 2. But you got a new driver in 2nd place in the standings, and that is the man that's just won the race, Ash Sutton. It's his first victory since race 3, the reverse grid race at Thruxton. It's his first non-reverse grid race victory of the 2024 campaign, and it puts him right back into the championship fight. Not that he ever really has been out of it. So provisionally, it is 305 points for Jake Hill, 296 points for Ash Sutton, and still on 289. 3rd in the championship, Tom Ingram, 265. 40 points adrift of the championship leader is Colin Turkington after that 2nd place finish. So Ash Sutton now makes his way back down towards the pit lane. Lights flashing because he's absolutely delighted with that race victory, as well as he should be, and more so with the points. Ash Sutton is a winner here at Donington Park, and for Ash around this circuit, he's always had good results around here, but he hasn't had as many wins as other circuits. So it's actually only his 3rd win at this circuit. It is, though, his 14th podium at the track, and Ash Sutton becomes the 2nd different race winner of the day. And in terms of total race wins for the reigning champion, that visit to the top step of the podium later on in a few minutes' time will mark his 41st career victory in the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship on race start number 258. A tremendous record that he's got. 41 wins. It's going to be his 93rd visit to the podium in the championship.